How you doing, guys? Big Mech Ghazghkull here again today, back once again with another live stream, a Tuesday live stream for you. This camera angle seems slightly off somehow. I don't know how though. But anyway, onto this live stream. Going to be tackling Ghazghkull again, and I might as well show you as well the Death Skull Mega Knob that I've painted, just as like a palette cleanser kind of thing. I think last stream, just turn that down a touch, don't want any echo, but I think last stream I showed you a bit of the Mega Knob, but I might as well show them you a bit closer up. Wait for a few people to join us if we get a few more viewers and whatnot. So, what are we all working on tonight? Let's see if we can get the chat bubbling over. It's only me in the chat at the minute. Very disappointed. Normally, we've got a fair bit of conversation flying back and forth early on. And if you're new to the channel, if you're new to my live streams, feel free just to say hi, to let me know that you're there. We've got 3 viewers at the moment, apparently. One of them could be me, though, because I'm watching the stream and making sure it all goes to plan. Right, let's just get my desk set up. My desk is really messy at the minute, so I need to get to cleaning it at some point. But yeah, let's wait for a few more to join. I don't know what areas do you think I should tackle on Ghazghkull tonight. I can't really get him to focus, but basically, possible areas to tackle. Could do some of the metal work, like the exhausts there. Could change them with contrast paints to give them a sort of goldy look or a bronzy look. And what other areas could I tackle? Oh yeah, this is one I want to tackle really. So is Iron Gob, his big jaw thing. I want to paint that with checks tonight, I think. So I need a decent off-white base coat paint. I think my Celestial Grey's in the other room, so I might have to nip in there and grab that in a second. But when I do, I could leave you with the spinny Mega Knob, couldn't I? So you can get a half-decent look at the spinny Mega Knob and see what I've been working on other than Ghazghkull. Let's get that desk area set up just for that Mega Knob. I've also been touching up a few random bits on various orcs, flash kits, and other Mega Knobs that I've been working on, that I started work on ages ago, but I've just never gotten around to finish. I'm wondering, as we have 4 viewers now, and nobody's talking in the chat, I'm wondering if the chat's working. It might not be working, perhaps. But yeah, if you are there, just say hi, and then I'll know it's working. If not, don't worry about it. If for some reason you can't type at the moment, if you're driving or something like that, that's absolutely fine. Just say hi when you can. And don't feel too obliged to say hi. It's not the end of the world if you don't say hi, but I just feel like I'm talking to myself, that's all. I've spent most of my life talking to myself, so it's no big deal if I do end up talking to myself. It doesn't really bother me too much. What I'm going to do then is, should I do a screen share for you whilst I get the camera set up? Let me whack it on the rumour engine. Oh, look at this rumour engine picture here. I just realised I've not done the screen share, so that doesn't help, does it? But yes, look at this rumour engine picture. Oh my god, that's way off centre. Look at this rumour engine picture here. What could that be? Ooh, I wonder. It could be, perhaps, I don't know. Oh, I'm clicking on the wrong thing here. Just try to change my settings. Get rid of my face here. Oh, look at that. Yeah, so the rumour engine picture, I think that could be something along the lines, something for, what are they called? The ogres in Age of Sigmar. That's what I reckon it could be for. But, hey, I'm not sure. Let's see if we can get that image. You can see how messy my desk is in that top corner image there. Let's see if we can point him down at the actual spinning Mega Knob, so you've got something to look at as I nip to find another paint. Let's go back to the other camera now, so let's see, hopefully. You know what, I genuinely don't know how to focus this camera on certain things, so hopefully that'll give you a decent image. Let's pull back like that and move out of the way. See, it's probably going to focus mainly on the background there, but yeah, you can see my lovely turtle pajama bottoms there. or jersey pants, as people like to say. And you can see my messy room and the messy desk. So judge me on my messy desk and fill the chat section with comments. And I'll be back in just a sec after... My phone just went off. I'll be back in just a sec after I... oh, it's just a bin message. After I have done something. Looked for my Celestial Grey. That's what I'm doing. Don't think it's down here, but I'll just check. Oh, there is a pot of Celestial Grey, but it's unopened, so I'll see if I can find my open pot of Celestial Grey, and I'll be back in a sec to hopefully get some checks on Ghazghkull's Iron Gob. Celestial Grey, magic. So I've got that pot of Celestial Grey now, and it's very... Celestial Grey is one of those paints that for me is very chalky, let's say. Let's just go back to the screen share, and I will alter the image so you don't get too dizzy. Whoa, there we go. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. So this screen share image is just of the Rumour Engine, latest Rumour Engine picture. It's, yeah, like I said, it's probably something for the ogres. I don't really know what the ogres are called now in Age of Sigmar, but the ones that have the iron bellies. Hey, the Hobby Corner joining us in the chat. Welcome, bud. Yeah, so I reckon that Rumour Engine is probably something to do with ogres in Age of Sigmar, basically. It could be something to do with 40k. It could be something to do with many other Age of Sigmar factions. It could be something to do with Warcry, not just Age of Sigmar. But yeah, I reckon, for me, looks like probably ogre related. Or possibly Gargant related, the Sons of Behemoth or something like that. But we're seeing them kits released pretty soon, I think. So I doubt it's anything from that kit. But it could be, you never know. What do I want to do now? I want to go back to the face focus, I think, whilst I waffle on, and I can adjust my stream. Oh, you know how I said I managed to switch the orientation of my screens around? It's reverted back to how it was. So now I have to go off the right hand side of the right screen to get to the left hand side of the left screen again. So it's all confusing again now. Yeah, the chat is very slow tonight, but not to worry, we've got 5 people watching nonetheless. You must be mildly entertained by me if you're watching, and I assume some people are watching and painting as well, which is quite a sensible thing to do, I'd say. Ghazghkull. You know what I've done? I've lost the bit that I was saying I was going to paint. Absolute disaster. There it is. I just stare at my desk sometimes and I'm like, you saw how messy it was then, but yeah, sometimes I just have to stare at my desk until something becomes apparent, and then I go to look away and it's like, ooh, I catch a glimpse of what I was looking for out the corner of my eye. Yeah, it's in need of a tidy soon, I think, this desk. I do, like, with my house in general, but my desk work area in particular, I do tend to let it get quite messy. And then I'll tidy it every now and again. I think a lot of hobbyists are like that for some reason. It seems quite a common trait in YouTuber hobbyists, especially, or people who share the work on Instagram and Facebook and whatnot. It seems to be quite a common trait for the ones that share. And I imagine the ones that don't as well. I've got a snack here sat in front of me. It's a Galaxy Orange Truffle, and I tell you what, oh, they are spot on. Recently in the UK, Cadbury have re-released a limited edition chocolate bar called an Orange Twirl. Now, a twirl is just like a plain chocolate bar, basically. 2 fingers of twirliness. But the Orange Twirl, the Cadbury Orange Twirl, in my opinion, is rubbish. Cadbury's chocolate, orange flavoured, doesn't really work in my opinion. I don't know if it's something to do with the milkiness of the chocolate or something, but for some reason, the creaminess of Galaxy chocolate. Galaxy's made by Mars, but the creaminess of Galaxy chocolate I think really works with orange flavour. So Cadbury's, a Galaxy truffle orange, spot on in my opinion. If you see them in the supermarket on your next big shop, grab some. Chuck them in your basket. They were on offer, I think $3.50 for a box. Not cheap, but nice. And as usual, I've got a really itchy nose now. I've started talking. Always seems to happen just as I go live. I don't know why. It's madness. I'm just going to keep wiping my nose because it's really itchy, so I'm trying to make it stop itching. I look like a lunatic, I'm sure. But hey, that's why 5 people are watching now. To see me look like a lunatic. And you'll be thinking, what's he doing with his hands? Is he doing some kind of weird prayer? But no, I'm rolling my paint across, mixing my paint. I do have, I've not tried it with just with base paints and layer paints and stuff, but I do have a coffee stirrer that I use to mix my paints. It's had the springy bit taken off though, so it doesn't aerate the paints basically, so it doesn't froth them up like because it's a milk frother basically. So I got another message on my phone. Yeah, I may well. Oh wow, that is really irritating. I may well try for the first time the coffee stirrer, the coffee frother, milk frother, in this paint. Don't forget, if you are joining us now, please feel free to. You don't have to. I'm not going to pressure you into it, but I will request every now and again that if you've not already done so, please like the video, and we'll see if we can't get this live stream. That would probably be a disaster for my channel. Get this live stream onto the YouTube home screen. Doubtful. I don't think there's many. Oh my god, that doesn't even fit in that pot. No way. So here's a lesson for you. This is an old pot, to be fair. You can see the old style of pot. The newer style of pot is like this one. Slightly different. There's not much difference in them, but you can see there's a slight difference there. But yeah, the stirrer doesn't even fit in that pot, so I'm not going to be able to use the coffee stirrer in there for the first time ever. Just quickly wash that coffee stirrer off in case it's got any more paint on there. Ooh. I will be, if you don't already know as well, I'll be on Chilling Wargamers stream this Thursday. I'll be joining them from 8 o'clock. I think the stream will be starting. I think it's going to be Spud, Elstonation and Pickle, but I'm not entirely sure. One of them may drop out for me to jump in. But I think when I've seen them have people on before, they have had, sorry putting the boys in a quick bath, but got you on in the background. No worries, mate. Yeah, crack on with what you're doing. I've just realised my subscriber count's gone down. Since I've started doing more live streams and fewer videos, my subscriber count seems to be dropping. I think in part it's probably because some people subscribe to me for the Mortal Realms videos and I don't do them anymore, so it's understandable, totally understandable. But if you want good Mortal Realms content, then definitely nip on over to the Hobby Corner and check out Kev's videos. He quite often does build guides, like shows you the simplest way to build things. His latest video, I think it was his latest video. It's the latest one I watched of his anyway. That was about building the spirit hosts because they're quite a tricky kit to put together. So yeah, he give you a few key tips there from an expert hobbyist, which is always helpful, especially to those newer to the hobby. And with the Mortal Realms magazines being targeted at people newer to the hobby, stuff like that is really helpful to new hobbyists, I think. Right, what do I want to do here? Get a bit of water on my palette. Wow, this brush is filthy. Just looking at the handle of the brush and realising how dirty it is. Next week's stream as well. I don't think I'll be streaming next week. I might end up streaming, but with work, we're doing some. The Hobby Corner's in a contest, a constant competition rather, with Ministry of Warhammer. Damn him and his sexy voice. Well, I am not subscribed to Ministry of Warhammer, so I might have to check him out. And if he has got a sexy voice, as you say, I may well subscribe to him and unsubscribe from you. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so next week's stream, either I'll do one in the daytime before I go to work, or I won't do one and I'll try and get a video up for you. But basically it's, or I could do one on Wednesday potentially, something like that. It might change day, I'm not entirely sure yet. But what's happening in work is we've got a new delivery for some student accommodation in Leeds, and I'll be the one delivering it basically, and they don't want the delivery till like 4 p.m. So that means I probably won't be getting back to from Leeds till like late, till after my normal start time of the stream anyway. So in all likelihood, I don't know which one I'd rather say there. We've got 6 viewers now. Excellent. Don't forget, if you are joining us, to say hi in the chat so we can all... So you give me something to talk about, basically. Yes, so next week's stream... 7 viewers now. Got Philip Freeman joining us in the chat. How you doing? Whoa! It's normally Marcos Castellanos gets in the chat with the first war, and then I always feel the need to say it, as most Orc players would want you to. So, you get the war this time, Philip. Welcome. And thanks for commenting. Thanks for joining in the chat. It's always good to have an active chat section. It makes streaming like this a lot easier, I think. Well, to a certain extent. This Celestial Grey paint is absolutely gone, I think. No. There's some in there that I can use. To a certain extent, an active chat section makes a live stream like this much easier. However, if it's too active, it can make the live streaming harder when you're trying to do something else as well. So because I'm trying to paint on this stream, when the chat becomes too active, I find it hard to keep track of the chat and actually get any painting done. I'm trying to think which brush I should use for this first little bit. Oh yeah, I need to get my reference image up. I've got the same Warhammer Community reference image up on... I'll just show you. Oh no, actually I won't. Should I show you? Yeah, I'll show you. Because do a quick screen share before I start painting this. Is anyone going to get any of the pre-orders on Saturday? That's the Space Moon and the Necron stuff, I assume you mean. I don't think I will, purely on the basis that we've got the Bard joining us in the chat. Welcome. Bin Night checking what bin it is. Can't see any out there. Well, I got my bin notification then, and I didn't check which bin it was. But I might actually put a bin out this week. Past few weeks, I've not bothered putting any out because I've not had any. There's always some bin chat going off in this, isn't there? But yeah, I've not had enough stuff to warrant putting the bin out for me. What was I saying then? Oh yeah, pre-orders on Saturday. Philip Freeman's asking. I'm holding off myself because I feel like chicken tonight. Nope. I feel like. Oh yeah, I'm holding off because I want to save my money for Cromlech's October stuff personally. So what I'll do is probably pick up a few of the Cromlech October things, and then eventually, over a certain period of time, I'll add some of the Space Marine units probably to my Imperial Fists, and potentially one or two of the Necron units as well, because I do like the look of some of the Necron units. The big walker thing, I like that. And I like the idea of taking them legs and converting one of the smaller knights, one of the Armiger... they're not that small, but one of the Armiger knights, and sticking that body on them Necron Crawley legs, just to give you a really unique looking sort of Dark Mechanicus knight, that kind of thing. So... toying with a few ideas. I think that's what a lot of Orc players got. Rivets and Daka joined us in the chat as well. Welcome. I just wolfed down a bag of crisp, which was probably a bad idea. But right before I went live, I wolfed down a bag of crisp. And yes, I am paying the price now. My throat is very tickly. The Bard saying he's waiting till Christmas to get a start collecting box, or for a start collecting box rather. So for me, I just wolfed down a bag of crisp, which was probably a bad idea. But right before I went live, I wolfed down a bag of crisp. And yes, I am paying the price now. My throat is very tickly. The Bard saying he's waiting till Christmas to get a start collecting box, or for a start collecting box rather. And for a lot of Orc players, I think they see new releases. That's what I was doing. I was painting. But they see new releases and they just think, oh, yes, what could I use that for? Is there any of these new releases that I could use for my Orc army, for little conversions and stuff like that? Not just Orc players, though. There are players that collect other factions, especially certain Chaos factions that do similar sorts of things. Death Guard, in particular, might like certain miniatures with fewer clothes on that they can modify with pustules and stuff like that, and add to like a Plague Zombie or Poxwalker collection, stuff like that. So yeah, you see it with various hobbyists actually, where they're looking at other factions models, and there's a great example of that on Instagram. What is he called? What's his Instagram called? Tales from New Aurora, I think it's called, and he was part of. Oh my word, my mind's gone blank. He was on a YouTube channel with Callum. Tabletop Banter was the YouTube channel. Yeah, so it was in Tabletop Banter with Callum. It was Harry and Callum, and Harry, I think, is Tales from New Aurora, and he's converted a guard army using Genestealer Occult models. Or it's not a guard army; it's a Heresy era guard army. I think, or that was the basis of when it started. That's what it was when it started. I don't know if he uses them as guard in 40k as well or something like that. Wouldn't surprise me at all. But some of his conversions are fantastic, and he uses all sorts of models as well to add to his forces. Hey, now the party is starting, says Kev. Yes, indeed it is. The chat is absolutely going off, mate. Going off. Oh, this paint is drying super quick, it seems. Seems to be developing a skin. Right. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted, a reference image. I was going to show you this reference image. I'll show you later when I'm having a little bit of a break from the painting. I'll show you the I saw a Ghazghkull from Siege Studios when I did my latest search for my reference image on Google. Yeah, and it looks fantastic, so I want to show you that shortly. Don't forget, if you are working on something and you want me to take a look at it, feel free to send an image or two or three or whatever to Big Mac Danskull. Well, probably not 1 million, because that'll take forever. Big Mac Danskull Facebook page. You can do it on Messenger, and I'll take a look at what you're working on and let you know my thoughts. If you want any tips, probably go somewhere else, because I don't have many tips. Go to the Hobby Corner for tips. He's always got good tips, especially for newer hobbyists. But I think we're always... the interesting thing about saying especially for newer hobbyists, for me, is we're always learning in this hobby. So it could be especially good for newer hobbyists, but really it could be good for experienced hobbyists as well. Just try to decide how many checks I want on this this jaw plate of Ghazghkulls. I've got my Psycho brush from Army Painter. I want to try Army Painter's new dry brushes as well, actually. I did watch. Did anybody watch any of the Lady Hammer Day stuff on Instagram on Last Hammer and I don't think Last Hammer maybe Last Hammer might have done a bit of a live later on actually, but Warhammer Princess on Instagram, she's organised a day of events and it took place on Sunday, and it was a day called Lady Hammer. She did organise a meet and a bit of a tournament or a gaming day up in a club in Liverpool, and for various females in the hobby, and also organised this day of Instagram events. So she interviewed some people, like charities and stuff like that, but also other female Warhammer enthusiasts, and also some that she has done live chats with on Instagram. They did their own live chats, sharing their latest endeavours in the hobby, or sharing tips on cosplay and stuff like that. But yeah, there was some interesting stuff on there. for sure. And I know, I think it's Electric Eve. She used to work on Warhammer TV, and she does a lot of stuff on YouTube now, and she's a commission painter and stuff. She did an interesting chat. You could ask people questions and stuff like that beforehand. Oh yes, I'm enjoying these checks. Great video on Future Mortal Realms Hobby Corner. Excellent stuff. Oh, so that means he's got another new video out since I've watched his last one. How big a Necromunda army are you thinking about collecting, Big Mac? Necron Army, I assume you mean. Unless I misspoke and said Necromunda earlier. But in terms of Necron Army, I won't have a big army. It'll be... got Eisenhorn joining us in the chat once again. Welcome, mate. Yeah, so Necron Army, I won't have a very big Necron Army. It's going to be like... I mean, I'll have what you get in the Command Edition of the Start Collecting box. Not Start Collecting box, the Command Edition of, you know, the game box. You know what I mean. I'm assuming you do anyway. So I'll have what you get in there, and I've got some of the Forgebane box left that I'll use some of the models from. But it's more going to be a kill team, probably. A kill team size thing. And if I misspoke and said Necromunda, I apologise for the confusion, because I've been known to do stuff like that in the past. But yeah, Necromunda's a game that I've... Yeah, you meant Necron, yeah. Good. But on the subject of Necromunda, it's one of those games that I've always sort of been tempted, and I've always looked at out the corner of my eye. But I think it's just another game that I wouldn't play. So I hardly play 40k as it is. I don't play a lot of kill. I don't play a lot, basically. So if I was to try and get into another game, I think it'd mean my gaming experience would, like my enjoyment of the games, would decrease, simply because whenever I play, I find it difficult to remember the rules, because I don't play often at all in any way, shape or form. And because I don't play that often, I'm constantly checking the rule book. That's why 8th edition, when that came out, it was like a godsend, although I've not played it much at all, 8th edition. Although I didn't play it much at all, the simplicity of the rules and the fact that you could get a game set up so quickly was one of the great things for me. And I hope we don't... I've not had a chance to look at 9th edition properly yet, or maybe not had the will to do it, I suppose. But I'm hoping it's pretty... I mean, it seems pretty similar to 8. They've just changed their sort of approach in the starter boxes and stuff like that. Although, you know, more experienced gamers out there will be able to tell me if there are any big differences that may affect a casual gamer's enjoyment. The Bard doing some Guard Cadian, I assume you mean, and Tempestus Scions start collecting sets, waiting on new Eldar. Excellent stuff. Are you painting the Cadians up in the GW website colours and the box art colours? Or are you... so what I'm getting at is, are you painting them as Cadians, or are you painting them as another Guard regiment? It's one of the weird things, isn't it, about Imperial Guard? The models are sold, I think, as Cadians, but GW do encourage you to use them as other regiments and paint them in other colour schemes and stuff like that. But people just refer to them as Cadians. I'm liking these checks so far. I'll give you an update shortly. When I say an update, I just mean a little close-up. Twisted Dice joining us in the chat. Welcome. Are you streaming after this one again? Or going live at some point tonight, I assume? You normally go live at 8 o'clock on a Tuesday, I think, don't you? I did catch a little bit of your stream, but then I fell asleep, unfortunately. It wasn't because your content was boring or anything. It's just because normally, on a weeknight, I normally go to bed quite early anyway, so quite often I'll fall asleep watching YouTube videos and stuff. And then sometimes I'll comment saying, I fell asleep watching your video, and then I think, why did I say that? It makes it sound like I was really bored or something. yes, did you hear that click? I've been trying to click for ages. I've had like midway down my back, I felt like there was, oh that's proper relieved it as well. I felt like there was something just trapped, but just that little click there, click of the neck, sorted me right out. Right. I think it's because I sit down all day and work, to be honest. I should really try going for a long... Oh my god. Wash this brush. So, I don't know what brushes other people use, but this one, I like the Army painted brushes. Try to get... seems like there's a bit of paint gone in the ferrule there, which could be a disaster for this brush. Because, like I said earlier, it's the Army painted Psycho brush, and there's hardly any hairs on it anyway. So if they start splaying out, that could be an absolute disaster. What I might do is get some brush soap on that straight away. I will, in fact. I'm going to put the thumbnail up and I shall be back shortly. I could try and show you my spinny orc again, but hey. You know what, actually? I'll do a quick screen share of this Siege Studios model. Bang that there. And then you can look at that gloriousness for a little while I try and sort this brush out. Screen share, where are we? Look at that beauty. Absolutely stunning, that model. Try to fit it in the screen. Bam, bam, bam. So this isn't what I'm using as reference material. I'm just using the standard GW one, but this one's from Siege Studios, and I saw it for the first time when I just did a search for reference image there. It's absolutely stunning, that. So I'll leave you with that while I go and get some brush soap, and I'm going to retire this brush for the night, I think, and see if I can get to work with a slightly thicker brush and see if I can get the same results. I'm back. It is stunning, isn't it, Kev? It's absolutely unreal, that. The neatness of the edge highlighting is... Technically, I suppose because it's an orc model, it's almost too neat, the edge highlighting, but just you've got to appreciate the control that's gone into that, I think. Yeah, so when I went to get brush soap ages ago, the only brush soap I could find was this one. It's a liquid brush soap. I have seen so many people use brush soap in the past, and it's always been like a solid or a powder sort of brush soap. But yeah, this one was the only one I could find. It works perfectly well. I guess it's like conditioner, isn't it, really? Just going to wash my brush out a few times with this soap, and then hopefully the paint will not remain in the ferrule. Yeah, it's crazy that Siege Studios Ghazghkull. Just like looking at various shading options that they've gone for on this, it is absolutely like sort of just ideas you wouldn't necessarily think of. Like on the claw, if you look, it's like a reddish maroon sort of purple almost shading on the claw, and I don't know how much of that is metallic. I think it's metallic, the claw, but I can't quite tell. It looks like a really dark metal, something like Ironbreaker, I want to say. Might be not Ironbreaker that I'm thinking of. It might be something else. I think Iron Hand Steel. I was watching a video earlier of a Necron painting video from Warhammer TV, and I think it's Iron Hand Steel. I think that is a pretty dark colour, but I think that looks darker than that. That looks darker than Iron Hand Steel. Yeah, I think I'll dip it one more time, this. I've been sat here thinking, I can hear someone talking. I've just remembered it's me on my stream. Let's see if I'm on. Look, what a goon. Streamception again. I always get at least one streamception going. So this is the reference material that I use. This is the GW one, and it's fantastic. The GW one, it really is. But that's what I'm using as a little guide to painting the checks on the iron gob here. Ooh. You know what? Interestingly, I said about the Siege Studio one, it's interesting that the options they've gone for, they've used a sort of reddish purplish. There is actually a reddish purplish on the GW heavy metal painted claw, but it's blood. It represents blood. But it's interesting that on the Siege Studio one, they've just gone for a dark metal, and then it's almost like a blood stained dark metal rather than blood spatter. It's like blood stained by the looks of it. As if someone spilt a load of red wine everywhere, all over his claw. I think he uses that claw to drink his huge goblet of red wine. Marcos Castellanos. Marcos, you're late, man. What's up with you? I would say war in the orky way I normally do, but Philip Freeman beat you to it. So you missed the war. You'll have to watch the stream back later. But no worries, mate. Just join us when you can. I was only joking, of course. Yeah, just looking at this Siege Studio Ghazghkull, and to me it's absolutely stunning. Like I said a little bit earlier, it is maybe, if anything, a little bit too neat, but I think that's the style that they like to paint in Siege Studios. But yeah, it's a really gorgeously painted model. Oh, Philip Freeman wants me to give Marcos a war as well. All right then, all right. War! There we go. So back to the paint job. I don't want to use this brush. I want to leave that to rest tonight. Marcos has just gotten out of work. Well, thanks for popping straight in. Excellent to see a regular community popping in like this. Can you hear that? Right, I need to turn that speaker down, don't I? Because I can just hear myself in the background. Right, what brush do we want now? So I'm going to not upgrade, but I'm going to downgrade slightly. You never see that on the tiny thing, will you? Let's go face focus again. You can see my beautiful face. But yeah, this is the Army Painter fine detail brush, and it's got a nice point on it. But the Psycho one, it's like a few hairs. The Psycho one, that's the Psycho one next to it. There we go. And I was a bit worried that I got some paint in the ferrule, so I wanted to wash it out straight away and then not use it again tonight. I may end up using it. I'll probably forget. One thing to note when you use brush soap, don't lick your brushes because you get a soapy taste in your mouth. Oh, I was eating. I used some alcohol hand sanitizer the other day. I rarely use it if I'm honest, but I saw some and I used it. I think it was when I went into Tesco actually, because I realised I hadn't washed my hands when I left work, which I normally do for some like nowadays. We've got Nerdy Tom joining us in the chat. Welcome, mate. He's back. Fantastic stuff. So yeah, I used some hand sanitizer the other day, and then I ate a wrap that I bought in Tesco on the way home because I was a bit peckish after lunch still. So I grabbed this wrap, and I'm just looking at the Siege Studios Ghazghkull. They've gone for a strange look on the base that surprises me almost. I'll do a quick screen share. Yeah, so I was eating a wrap the other day. A wrap, that is, not a rat, like a tortilla wrap. And I licked my thumb after I shoved the last bit in my mouth, and it tasted of the alcohol hand sanitizer. It was horrible, awful it was. Yeah, just an interesting thought here on this base. It just looks, I mean, it's the standard base, just looking at it, but it just looks like slightly different somehow. Just Just looking, looking close up here. Just looks, I think it's just the way they've painted it. It looks like they've maybe instead of, they might have dry brushed it, but it looks to me almost like they've highlighted those bits of gravel individually or something. Looks slightly odd there. But not to worry, not to worry. It's still a fantastically painted miniature. And I'll get back to my reference material now, the GW1, and I'll get back to my face focus as well. Right, let's give this brush a little moisten. Drop a bit of that water in the old paint. Need to get a fine tip on this now because I'm using a slightly thicker brush now. So I want to make sure I manage to get as fine a line or as close to as fine a line as possible. I'll tell you what, I'm going to put my elbows on the desk here. I'm not convinced I'm going to be able to get a fine line here. Oh my Gideon. Do you like this close-up of my face? It's nice, isn't it? Yeah, so this is the job so far. Let's see if I can get, yeah, there we go. You see the checks on that side of it. Try and hide my face so it doesn't focus on my face, the camera. Got to find that magical zone. So you can almost see the checks on that side of it. Anyway, you can't quite because they're quite dark on the black. The bard has been putting the bins out, so that's why he's been absent from the chat. Not to worry, bud. That's one thing. Everyone's really polite in these streams. If they nip away for a bit, they tend to say, and they tend to give reasons for why they nipped away. But you don't have to, you know. You don't always have to say why you've not been commenting and stuff. It is okay. It's very polite of you all to do so, though. Yeah, this is definitely going to need a second layer. I just wanted to get this layer down to establish the shape of the checks and the placement of the checks. But if anything, it's a little too thin. But it makes it easier to paint over if I when I make mistakes rather than if. Yeah, that needs rounding or sharpening rather. One thing that isn't great about these brushes, because they've got the sort of triangular shape to them, it's great that you can put them on the desk and they don't roll away, but because they've got that triangular shape to them, they're not as easy to roll in your hand. I mean, they're still pretty easy to roll in your hand because I'm doing it there, but they're not as easy. It feels a bit more jolty, if that's a word. Well, it's not a word, is it? But I just used it as one. It feels a bit more jolty. There we go. No, not quite right. Oh, I'm nervous. Hobby Corner, I'm now in the car on my way to pick up the wife from Oxford, so that's an hour-and-a-half round trip. Wow. You're going to have me on in the background, or you're going to stick something decent on the radio, mate? I'm assuming you're going to have me on in the background. What I'd do if I was you is stick something decent on. Because there will be moments of silence like this when I'm trying to focus on not making any mistakes. Rivets and Daka giving Marcos a big wah there. One thing, Marcus, so you can always rely on Marcus. As soon as he joins the stream, he always gets that wah in, doesn't he? Whoa. I wonder what it'd sound like if anybody knows any audio engineers out there, if somebody collected, let's say in the 40k Orc community on Facebook, somebody collected audio samples of everybody in the group saying wah, or shouting wah, screaming wah, and then if a sound engineer added them all together, if they could make it sound like a massive crowd of orcs, that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? What a great idea I just had. I won't be the one putting that together. I imagine you need a decent bit of equipment so it doesn't just sound all distorted and stuff. Underdog Painting joining us in the chat once again. This is like the 3rd or 4th week in the row, isn't it, Barry? Welcome, mate. Bazza, here's a man to ask. How do you go about painting checks if you paint checks, or do you not? Do you avoid them at all costs? Oh, that was a nice little connection of a line there, Ugo. I just like to just tackle them. Yeah, so Bazza avoids checks. He tries to anyway. I like to just tackle them head on. I think once you've painted some, for me anyway. Now I don't get them right every time at all. No, by no stretch of the imagination do I. But I feel like the more I paint, the better I'm getting at it. Which theoretically, the old adage is practice makes perfect. That should actually be what happens. Oh, this brush is starting to splay out, which doesn't help. Let's give it a wash. Philip Freeman, just a quick tidbit of modelling. I got some thin beads from the range that look like used cartridges that are brass coloured, and you can get different lengths. They cost £1 for 100, and they look okay on dreadnoughts, etc. Excellent stuff. I'll have to have a look at that. The range. I'm trying to think if there's a range near me. I'm sure I was near one recently, but I can't remember where it was. Oh, the bard saying do plaid. Yes, of course. No chance of me doing that. I was gonna get an ogre model from Reaper Bones once and try and paint a female ogre model and try and paint the Wallace hunting tartan or Tate hunting tartan. Was it what? No, I think it was Wallace hunting tartan. Try and paint that on the kilt it was, the skirt it was wearing. So it looked like a kilt, but I never got around to doing that. It was just after my nana died, and she had the Wallace hunting tartan as like the Wallace tartan as a family tartan, but the hunting tartan is like green and yellow and black. But yeah, it's I almost attempted that once, but never got round to it. But the ogre, and now I'm not. I don't think it's too distasteful to say, but it really reminded me of my nana. It was so weird that I found that model just after she died, and I was contemplating getting it to paint it up because it kind of looked like my nana, just like facially the expression on its face or something about it. It was like really reminds me of her. So I almost bought it, never got around to buying it though. Has anyone in the chat painted up any memorial models, if you like? Anything like that in the past? I think it could be something that could end up being quite therapeutic for you, but I'm not too sure because I've never actually done it myself. I definitely need a bit more paint in there now. Bazza made a video on it though, on painting checks, I assume. I'd maybe the bard's asking Bazza to make a video on doing plaid. Yeah, doing a bit of tartan. You should definitely try that, Bazza. Chat's going off now. Maybe Nirvana could put a WAR audio together. Yeah, possibly. That could be a suggestion for him, definitely. Watch a painter on Twitch do it, kinda. Watch the painter on Twitch do it, kinda. Kind of. David Simpson joined us in the chat. Hello, Hunky Monkey. Is the beard making a return? Well, I don't think so. Not at the moment, but we'll have to wait and see, won't we? It's always growing, so I tend to see it off. I can do a video on that, no problem. I need ideas for videos. Well, Bazza is going to be tackling tartan at some point in the future then, or plaid. Oh, come on. This brush is behaving completely differently to the other brush, which is irritating. I just need to get a point on it so I can paint these checks. You'll notice I go very quiet when I'm painting the checks as well. So it can get a little bit boring when I'm doing these ones. Found it hard enough doing stripes on an Obelix Mini, and good old Felix. You got the new 40k box delivered yet? Any good? I've had it delivered, but I've not had a chance to look in it, to be honest, so I've not taken the time to look in it. Other than just at the contents. I was going to do a little unboxing of it, but everyone's already done them, so I don't think there's much point in me doing an unboxing of it and, you know, sharing my thoughts on it. What I will do is share my thoughts on it in a video in the future when I get round to looking. It's more that I want to look at the rules. I want to film the scenarios as like mini battle reports kind of thing, introductory battle reports, in a similar sort of fashion to the way I did the conquest videos, conquest battle reports. And I may finish my series of conquest battle reports, but using 9th edition rules. We'll have to wait and see. I need to get back into the habit of making videos, especially now. Like next Tuesday, I'm not going to be able to do. Now I've got more people in the chat, I may as well mention it again. I'm probably not going to have a live stream next Tuesday. If I do, it'll be earlier in the day, because I'm delivering to Leeds late in the evening, or well in the afternoon, late in the afternoon, early evening. But I'll be I probably won't be back home till close to 10 at night, or after 10 if anything goes wrong and get stuck at the drop. Just messed up a little bit there, but not to worry. I think the key thing about painting things like checks and diamonds and stuff like that, for me, one of the key things is, if you mess up, don't panic. There's no point, because if you panic and you start rushing to correct something, chances are you'll make it worse. So just take your time if you realise you've messed up. And what I'll do, in fact, because I'm painting the white checks on the black surface, you can sort of see them, can't you? I've made a little mistake. Come on. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I've made a little mistake on the final two checks, like on this side. And so I've gone a little too far into the black on the middle section of black there. So what I'll do is just go back in with black in the future and correct that. You need a felt tip pen in white and just colour the checks in rather than painting it. That is not a bad idea at all. Or one of them little correction rollers. That'd be perfect, wouldn't it, on a larger surface? Just a little correction roller, Tipex roller or whatever you call them. Just like do a little line across. Perfect check. Amazing. That's not a bad idea at all, that, to be fair. A little white felt tip pen. I imagine it'd have to be like an alcohol pen or something. Yeah, I need to go over that one again, definitely, because you can't even see that one. But they're not looking bad at all. I'm quite enjoying the way they're coming out. The question is, do I do checks under the chin as well, or do I just do them around the gob, around the front of the gob there? Do you think they'll do another conquest of this box set? I think they will. After Mortal Realms has finished, or when it nears its conclusion, they're on issue low 30s now, aren't they? So when it approaches its conclusion, Mortal Realms, say the last 10 issues or something, I think they'll start a new Conquest style magazine for 40k again. I think that's how they're going to get their money's worth out of the sprues, the easy to build sprues that have been in the various boxes. So you look at the Indomitus box, they've hardly used the easy to build sprues of things like the characters and stuff like that aren't in these start collecting boxes. Some of them will get released as miniatures, standalone miniatures, but I don't think others will. Next June maybe, possibly, yeah, if that's when Mortal Realms is due to finish. Yeah, so we're looking 50 years. So if we're 30 issues deep, then it's 50 more weeks. So next August maybe, I'd say. Well, yeah, June, July. Yeah, so next June or July time, they'll probably, potentially, I'd say, bring out another 40k style conquest style magazine. And it could be something that I'm interested in, especially if I want the miniatures for the other faction as well. But the other faction will probably be Necrons, so because they'll they'll want to, like I said, maximise the usage of the miniatures from Indomitus and all the Necron. They're bound to release more, like coming up this weekend. There's pre-orders for more Necron miniatures. I think some of them will be easy to build miniatures, and that's what we'll see. And that's what we've seen in Mortal Realms. We've seen the Nighthaunt and the Stormcasts, and there's a lot of Nighthaunt miniatures that are easy to build miniatures. And I really think that's why they've got all the lore, all the extra narrative that they get with a new starter box being released. They add a load of narrative into there. They have narrative in the form of novels and stuff around the two races involved. So we're getting, like, I think this weekend as well, I think we're getting a Necron novel released for the first time. I'm not sure if it's for the first time, but I feel like it is. Tipex for the win, says a hobby corner, indeed. But yeah, I think in all likelihood, I think we'll see Necrons and Space Marines in a new Conquest style magazine. Baz is saying it's a lot easier to paint black checks on white, he finds. Yeah, definitely. The coverage is much easier for sure. I don't mind doing a bit of extra work going in with the white checks on the black myself, because I find it easier to correct any mistakes that I make, because inevitably I will make mistakes. So because I find it easier to correct white on black mistakes rather than black on white mistakes, I don't mind doing it black first. And the model, I'd already painted it, painted the jaw black, so I just figured I'd go in with a celestial grey and then build it up to just an off-white, probably. I use felt tip pen to draw the checks, then I paint black spots with a brush afterwards. That's not a bad idea at all. Yeah, I think that's a similar sort of technique that the Hobby Corner Kev was talking about. Change the camera angle, please, so we can see the mini. No. What do you mean? You not want to see my face? What's wrong with you? I can change the camera angle if you want, but it's never going to be a great camera angle. Because I don't know. Let's see if I can get this to go closer. I'll tell you what. The problem is, a lot of the time, don't get sick. The Silent King, 95 quid indeed. And that, I don't think that's an easy to build mini. But yeah, the Silent King's 95 quid. I watched Valrak's video just before doing this, actually. Yeah, I was going to say the problem is painting the mini. I'll probably be painting it here quite a lot because it's quite a close detailed job. So if I turn the camera down to the desk, you're not going to be able to see it anyway. But I will have at some point give you a little bit of a better showcase, hopefully, of the work I've done. What I'm going to do is get a bit more paint on the palette. You can stencil, by the way. Check them out. You can get stencils, by the way. Yeah, check them out. Yeah, definitely. I'm waiting for some for your jet bikes. Excellent stuff. For Harlequin jet bikes, are they? Or for just standard Eldar jet bikes? I think there was a company that I was looking at ages ago when I first got an airbrush, especially. I was looking at a particular company stencils, but I think it's Fallout Hobbies. Do they do stencils? I feel like they do. I think I was looking at their stencils ages ago, but I've not had a chance. Gary Knox joined us in the chat. Welcome, mate. Yeah, I will try and show you, to Nerdy Tom, I will try and show you the mini in a bit more detail, but I've not got an ideal camera angle to give you at the minute, unfortunately, because, like I said, I'm going to be coming in close and sort of moving, because it's such a fine detailed job I'm trying to do. What I could show you, I suppose, is the Ghazghkull I've done, is where Ghazghkull's up to so far, so I could just point it at Ghazghkull. That's not my Ghazghkull, obviously. Yeah, I could point it at Ghazghkull, but it's just a mess of desk and all sorts of stuff there, and I can't really get him to sit right, and yeah, so that's Ghazghkull so far. Trouble is, the camera's focusing on the background, so yeah, it's not ideal really, because you're just going to be looking at a blurry image. So yeah, I think I'll stick to my face. Stick to my face. I will look into, well, I say I will look into, I have, and I will at some point in the not too distant future, get myself a second webcam just to make it easier, where I can have one pointing at the desk and one pointing at the face of me and my wonderful blue eyes. Oh, my feet are catching on these wires here. It's not good. How are you going to use it on the smaller table? Good afternoon to you. How are you going to use it on the smaller table? What smaller table? The desk in front of me? Or, I don't know. I'm not sure, Philip, what you're talking about there. Making mixed Eldar Force for now. Excellent stuff. Same as I'm doing mixed Guard Force. Nice. Your Scions and your Cadians and that. I think for me, that's, as someone who's interested in a lot of factions in the hobby, that's the beauty of these sort of almost Grand Alliance style factions that we get with the Imperium factions and with Eldar in particular. If you wanted, like with Inari, especially, if you like the aesthetic of various units in each army, you can pick the units from those armies and put them together in a separate little army of their own, and get certain miniatures from each faction. Especially with Harlequins, because Harlequins used to be part of the Eldar army list, the Craftworld Eldar army list, but now they are, well, and Dark Eldar, I think, as well. But now they're their own separate faction. It's like, that's one of the weird things. Like, I think Harlequins are more like an Age of Sigmar faction in some ways, because Age of Sigmar factions, many of them aren't that big. They don't have many options, because you've split them into that many small factions that it just becomes ridiculous, in my opinion. I've got to think where I want these to go now, haven't I? Otherwise, it could end up looking very messy under the chin. You know what? I might just leave it there. I might not go anywhere else under the chin. And just refill in these ones on the other side. The Silent King on a new 40k table. Oh yeah, with the smaller table size, you mean? Yeah, he's a big model, but he'll definitely fit. I don't know any of his stats though. I think Edic Bear 40k Necrons and more had a video up just before I went live, actually, about some new rules for Necrons. I wonder if that might be something to do with the Silent King's rules. But that's the thing, these are recommended table sizes, so you can still play on a 6x4 table if you want, or an even bigger table. Those kind of units as well, they come with a cost attached in terms of points value, and obviously monetary value as well. But in terms of points you pay for them, that's like a knight level unit, isn't it, I think? So you're going to be, although you can't get loads of them, so let's compare him more to Magnus or Mortarion. He's like that kind of level of unit. So, you know, they'll no doubt come with a cost attached, and many people won't bother taking him because of that, probably. Unless there's some weird combination you can get with some other Necron character models or something. Wow. I'm still watching, if you're interested. Still watching Battlestar at the minute. I think I'm almost at the end of season 3. So I've got like one more season after that, and then I'll be done with it. I still need to watch a new series of The Boys on Prime, and I'm going to start, eventually, I'm going to start Black Sails as well, hopefully. That's one that I saw what's her face was in it. I can't remember her name in the Flash. She's Barry's daughter in the Flash, and she comes from the future. I saw that actress was in Black Sails because I was looking for other stuff she was in on IMDb because I wanted to see how old she was. So I went to her IMDb account and I'm like, oh my god, she's older than me. I think she was older than me anyway, but she looks dead young. Like, she only looks like early 20s or something like that. But yeah, she's older than me. And then I was like, oh, I wonder what else she's in. And she's in Black Sails. And then I saw it had like a rating of 9 or something on IMDb. So it's something that definitely I'm interested to see what it's like. And also, my mates mentioned they were watching it. So it's something they said they're really enjoying it as well. So it's something that I definitely want to watch now. Now I've had a bit of a confirmation that it is something I'd probably enjoy. We all tend to, or many of us tend to like all pretty similar things in my friendship group, so, or at least be able to get some enjoyment out of it. I think that's probably quite similar for a lot of friendship groups though, isn't it? Oh no, I've made another mistake! Not to worry. Oh, I'm getting kind of sloppy now. I think maybe I need to stop with the detail work and finish up with this last little check here. My brush is writing checks that my posterior can't cache. Oh my giddy aunt, it's getting all sloppy now as well. I've done so well on the first layer, and then the second layer I've gone madly sloppy. Yeah, I think I'll leave that for the detail work there now. I think it's looking good though, to be fair. What I'll do is take it off of the thing I've got it on, and I'll place it on the desk. And then, hopefully, well, actually, maybe I should place it on a lollipop stick and then try and show it you. Anyone picking up the 40k Marvel comic? That would be the Monius Calgar one, wouldn't it? I won't be picking it up myself. I'm not too into comics myself. I've never... I think part of the reason I never got into comics is because I always found it hard to read anyway, and because comics are set out in like such a weird way, I never knew which speech bubble to read in each panel. Are they called panels? I think they are. I don't know. Or which way should, because sometimes some pages you'll go across from box to box to box or panel to panel, but then other times you'll go down, and it's like because the set out in such an odd way, I always found them hard to read, I think. I have read a couple of comics. I read the original run of the Umbrella Academy, and I read just like the odd comic every now and again. But yeah, I've always kind of found them a bit difficult to get into, really. That's not for that one. That's for that one. Philip Freeman saying he's ordering the first 2 issues. Excellent stuff. Just to see what they're like. Also, I think I don't know, the art style. It looks like it's it just seems a bit childish, the art style, to me for some reason. Right, so I'm going to try and show you now my checks in a slightly closer look. Fingers crossed we can get it to focus and everything. So let's go down. We're going down. So that's my checks. It's not remaining focused, but you can sort of see the outline of the checks anyway. So that's the work I've been doing on the jaw. It's taken me an hour to do that. I watched a video this morning. I collected the Orc comic Blood and Thunder. Excellent stuff. Was that the one with the Red Squadron? the Red Squadron? The Red Squadron. Yeah, was that one? I think it was. You can see here and there I've made a few mistakes, like near this tooth here, just below this tooth or jaw. I'll tell you what, let's see if I can do some magic here. Can I draw on this screen? I don't think I can. No, I can't draw on the screen. Never mind. Oh, look at that. That's well focused, isn't it? So what I need to do is show you the hairy side of my hand. So the bit that's closest to the middle of the screen there's a bit of a mistake in there. And then around this side, there's a few that need straightening up. But overall, I'm pretty happy with those checks. And I'm going to go in probably with a slightly lighter colour, just to bring them up to a slightly brighter level. And I need to shade red on the teeth and stuff as well. Not my teeth, but the teeth on the gob, on the jaw. And yes, that is I think that's about everything. I also collected the Dark Tower comics, Gunslinger Born. Nice. That'd be was it a Stephen King book, that Dark Tower? Or was it just a run of comics? I don't know. I feel like it was a Stephen King book first, but I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, so that is pretty much the checks. I was only going to stream for like an hour tonight because originally I think Spud was going to be streaming at 8 o'clock tonight on either his channel or on Chili More Gamers, probably his channel. So I was going to hand over to him at 8 o'clock, but he's not ended up streaming now because he's not feeling too good. So hopefully it'll be better for Thursday. Modelling for Advantage joined us in the chat. Welcome, mate. Kaiser, I am guessing. A Wild Kaiser appears. Stephen King series of books, yeah. And then, so it was made into a comic, Gunslinger Born. Nice. Might have to check that out. I did watch, was the film with Owen Wilson and Idris Elba, was that called Dark Tower? Was it Owen Wilson? Matthew McConaughey. It was Matthew McConaughey, wasn't it? Not Owen Wilson. Yeah, was that called Dark Tower or was that called something else? But that was based in that universe anyway, wasn't it? Last comics I collected was 2000 AD Rogue Trooper. Anyone remember them? I do not, because as I said, I don't read comics. But it's good to get some comic chat in the chat. Well, yeah, I always found it hard to read when I was a kid. So the way comics are set out so oddly, I guess, or randomly or chaotically. Comics are quite chaotic, I find, because they've got art, words, next art, and it's like boom, 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 and it's all over the place. It's like trying to make sense of a collage that someone's put together, like a scrapbook or something like that, and try to get a continuous story out of it. And I always struggle with it, because like I said, I struggle to read anyway, like books written in full sentences. I think in part it was because I couldn't find anything that captured my imagination, and it wasn't until I started reading Warhammer 40k short stories, like in the Eldar Codex when I originally got it, that I got a bit more confident with reading. Ooh, pretty flamingo. Yes, indeed. We've got the flamingo shirt on tonight. I have now changed my Patreon to sponsor a shirt. So if you want to sponsor a future shirt, you can pledge at the $12 level. Once you've pledged for 2 months, you will be sponsoring a shirt, basically. Just a bit of fun there, really. Yeah, there's no... I want to keep my Patreon going because I think it's something I can use more effectively in the future. But I don't expect anyone to donate to it at the moment. There's no real reward for donating to it. I was going to try and start doing movie reviews on there, but at the minute I'm finding it difficult to get just YouTube videos up on my regular YouTube channel. So yeah, at the minute there's no extra reward for pledging to my Patreon other than knowing that you're supporting the channel. But I understand as well that times are hard for people at the minute, so I definitely don't expect people to pledge to my Patreon and become patrons at this moment in time. I'm thinking I might tuck into this Galaxy Orange Truffle because It's just sat there and it's staring at me. Gary Knox, yes, we'll pick up the first two for a look. I want to get the model now, though. Oh, the Monius Cargo model, nice. That's one that I've always wanted. Well, I say always wanted. Since it first came out. Movies, you mean Dune? Yes, I will be watching that at some point as well. I don't know when that's released, though. But I only watched the 80s Dune with Patrick Stewart and other actors. I only watched that about 2 or 3 months ago, and I was going to share my thoughts on that on a Patreon video, but I never got around to it, unfortunately, and I've kind of forgotten my thoughts. Oh my word. So I'm going to pop this in my mouth, and then should we take a look at some stuff? I don't know, there's not really much to look at, I don't think, but I'll pop on over to the community site again, and then we can take a look at that together. I like to try and let these melt, so I'm going to be talking funny for a little bit. Having trouble with my cursor. Oh yeah, I'll need to do a screen share, won't I? That's a good idea. Wow! Right, so, screen share. We've seen the rumour engine already, haven't we? I suspect that is for one of the ogre tribes, or whatever they're called in Age of Sigmar. Watch the cutscenes from June 2000 game. Awesome. Nice, I'll have to have a look, see if they're on YouTube. Kaiser saying, it's not stood the test of time, that movie. Cult classic for sure, but hardly one to watch for epic fight scenes, etc. Yeah, the fight scenes and the sort of shielding that they wear and stuff. A bit dated. But I think overall, if you're taking it for story and stuff, the story's intriguing more than anything. And you can see, what I found interesting about Doom was, you can see elements in there that have inspired certain things in 40k, I think. So I definitely took something from it in that sense. This chocolate's going to make me cough now, unfortunately. So I will try to... There we go. I'm just going to chew it instead. Right, what do we want here? Warhammer Community. Ancient Evil, new rules. Let's click on that and have a look. Codex Necrons, new rules and units. If you want a Necron player's opinion on this, like I said, check out Idikbay 40k Necrons and more, because I'm sure he's put a video up tonight about this article. Reanimation protocols changing. Each time an enemy unit shoots or fights after it makes its attacks, if any models from this unit were destroyed as a result of those attacks, but this unit was not destroyed, the unit's reanimation protocols are enacted and those destroyed models begin to reassemble. Make reanimation protocol rolls for that unit by rolling a number of d6 equal to the combined wound characteristics of all the reassembling models. So if you've got a unit of 3 models with 3 wounds and 2 of the models die, then you'll roll 6 dice. Gonna have to get some water as well now because I've finished mine. I'll be back shortly. I'm having all kinds of problems. I shouldn't have had that chocolate, it's just started making me cough. Hopefully that'll help. Yeah, so each time a unit with reanimation protocols enacted, reanimation protocols for that unit by rolling a number of d6 equal to combined wounds characteristic of all reassembling models. Each reanimation protocol roll of 5+ is put into a pool. A reanimation protocol roll can never be modified by more than -1 or +1. If the number of dice in the pool is greater than or equal to the wounds characteristics of any of the reassembling models, select one of those models to be reanimated. A reanimated model is added back to the unit with its full wounds remaining. So, if, for example, in this theoretical unit of set, pardon me, if in this theoretical unit of 3 models, each with 3 wounds, 2 of the models die, then you roll 6 dice. If you get 3 or more 5 pluses, you get 1 model back. If you get 6 5 pluses, you get 2 models back. The models can only be set with engagement range of an enemy unit that they are already within engagement range of the reanimated models unit, and there's other rules there. So basically, that seems pretty good in a number of ways for Necron players. One of them is that it's after the attacks that you're making the rolls. So instead of at the end of the shooting phase or at the end of the fight phase, it's after the attacks that cause the wounds that you're making the rolls. So I think it used to be at the end of the Necron player turn, didn't it? I'm not entirely sure on that because I don't play an awful lot. Marcos saying, "What's the link to my Patreon?" It should be in the description of this video. I'll just check for you if it's in the description of this video. That is this video. Let's go down here. There we go. Yeah. So right there's a link to to my Patreon there. So become a Patreon. Click that, and then you can pop on over to my Patreon. But like I said, don't feel obliged to pledge to my Patreon, especially if you're in a precarious work situation or anything like that at the moment. But back to reanimation protocol. It's really seems really good that for Necron players because they're rolling after the attacks rather than at the end of the Necron player turn. They're rolling more often, so theoretically they should be getting more models back, especially if there's single wound models. If there are single wound models in that unit, so in a unit of Necron warriors, I don't know if they're 1 or 2 wound models, but let's say 9 of them die and they are single wound models. There may be 2 wound models, but let's, for this theoretical situation, say they're single wound models. You're rolling 9 dice. Probably at least 3 of those dice you're going to get 5 pluses. So that means you're getting at least 3 models back. So without it's backing up the idea for non-Necron players or players playing against Necron armies. It's backing up the idea of shoot it till it's dead. So concentrate your firepower on a single unit until that unit's killed, destroyed, and then it can't reanimate. So yeah, that's tactics. Definitely, you need to stick to that kind of idea, I think, when you're playing against Necron armies now. I saw a meme, the meme of the woman shouting at the cat at the dinner table. I saw a meme someone made on, I don't remember what Facebook group it was, it might have been the Edit Bay Unification group, but they took this cryptek pointing, and it was pointing at the dude from, I think it was pointing at the dude from the turret on the back of the new Landspeeder type model for Space Marines. It was funny. I chuckled. I don't like memes normally, but I found that one funny. Protocol of Sudden Storm. Arcing energies leap from one Necron unit to the next, lending speed to their limbs and causing their eye lenses to blaze. Directive 1. Add 1 inch to the move characteristic of models in this unit. Directive 2. If this unit is performing an action, it can still make attacks with ranged weapons without that action failing. I don't know what that means really, because I don't know much about the Necron rules. Here's that gunslinger type unit. Robotic reinforcements. It's not just been the overlords coming up with. It has not just been the overlords coming up with new schemes to reclaim their rightful domain. Crypteks have also clearly been busy, as there are tomb loads of new units for your Necron army. This dude's got 18-inch range pistols with 1 shot each, He does have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Judging from this picture, it looks like he's got 5 of them. He could have 6 of them now. They're strength 6, minus 1 AP and 1 damage. Oh, it's 6. And as if 6 shots wasn't enough, they get to fire more when they take out an enemy model. Multi-threat eliminator. Each time an enemy model is destroyed by a ranged attack made by this model's enmitic disintegrator pistol. After this model makes the rest of its attacks, it can shoot with one of its enmitic disintegrator pistols one additional time. Oh, so it only shoots with one of them. No, it says each time, excuse me, each time an enemy model is destroyed. So if you destroy 6 enemy models, it gets to shoot with 6 pistols again. These attacks cannot generate additional attacks. So it's a maximum of doubling its shots, basically. And it means, like, against a unit of, say, 5 Space Marines, if you take out 3 of them, you've got a good chance of taking out the other 2 as well. No. If you take out 4 of them, you've got a good chance of taking out that last one as well, because Space Marines have 2 wounds, don't they now? We hear that Kelemorph has asked to postpone its plans. Plan duel with the Hexmark Destroyer. Ha 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 ha. That is such a cool image, isn't it? These Necrons coming out of the what are these called? I've forgotten the name of them. Monolith, it says it here. Well, not technically a new unit. The Monolith is getting a new model and has had enough of an improvement that Overlords will almost see it as new. Not only does it have an additional 4 wounds, but its weapons have also undergone an upgrade. And there is even a new option, the Death Ray, which you can take in place of a Gauss Flux Arc. Death Ray, I think that was the name of the weapon in Voyager, on Tom Paris's holodeck program, Captain Proton. I'm sure that was the evil guys. He just had a death ray. So they're nicking more from Star Trek now. No, in all seriousness, there's death rays. Like, it's a classic old sci-fi sort of weapon, isn't it? 60s sci-fi kind of weapon. I'm sure there probably was one in Flash Gordon and stuff like that as well. Although Flash Gordon, the movie at least, wasn't 60s sci-fi, it was 80s, wasn't it? Anyway, Death Ray, 24 inches, heavy 1, strength 9, AP minus 3, damage D3 plus 3, wowzers, but it's only a heavy 1. Gauss Flux Arc, 30 inches, rapid fire 3, so a maximum of 6 shots at half range at 15 inches. Strength 5, minus 2 AP, 1 damage. Particle Whip, 36 inch, heavy D6, strength 12, wowzers. AP minus 3, damage 3, abilities blast, which means so it's a heavy D6, and if it's attacking a unit with 10 or more models, doesn't that mean it gets 6 hits automatically? Wow. That is brutal. That is brutal. That against, I guess there aren't too many units out there, are there, that are going to have 10 or more models and be a high toughness. But against stuff like Meganobs, it's going to eat through them. That's awful. What an awful weapon that is for Orc players. Portal of Exile, strength, range melee, type melee, strength user. I don't know what strength of Monolith is. AP minus 3, damage 3. Oh, excuse me. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, that attack automatically hits its target, so it's an auto hit. I was going to say it's probably not going to do much damage, but I guess Monoliths probably don't get that many attacks, do they? Oh, Portal of Exile, so it's that thing that the Necrons are coming out of. That's what's kind of cool about this this image here. Let's see if we can get it in a big up situation, shall we? Let's put it there and see if we can zoom in. Oh, we can't zoom in anymore, that's irritating. But basically, I wanted to say, this Portal of Exile here, one thing that's cool about the new Monolith kit is you can have a Necron emerging from this portal. So it looks like it's being brought into being out of the energies of the portal. Fantastic looking stuff. what's interesting about the unit marching out of here as well, I assume it means you can have mixed weapons in Necron warrior units. So you can have the new double barrel Gauss gun. Is it a Gauss gun? I don't know. And you can have the single barrel one as well. Interesting. All interesting stuff. Oh, I've gone back there instead of to this. This is what I meant to go to. Yep, so that's all interesting. And then there's a new Catan. That is a nice image. I love the way GW take the pictures sometimes. I just sat here in silence just appreciating the image. It looks like this is like a high sort of mining facility or quarry facility that the Gene Stealer cults are inhabiting. And then the Necrons are just emerging from down the mountainside and coming up the mountain to attack and raid on the position. Oh! New $12 patron, Marcos Castellanos. Thank you so much for that pledge. That is halfway to a new shirt for me for a future stream, so I'm very excited to welcome you to the Patreon family. Yes, thank you so much, Marcos. You will get a mention in a future video when I am wearing the shirt that you basically paid for me. And if I can find a shirt for £12, what I'll need to do is nip into Manchester, do a bit of snooping around some charity shops and stuff, I think, because I might be able to find a snazzy old shirt in a charity shop or a vintage shop. There's a lot of vintage shops in Manchester. Don't know what the situation is with opening at the minute. I mean, they can open, but I don't know how open those sorts of shops are in Manchester city centre. But yeah, I can look at like some old vintage shops. It's just people taking donated clothes and sticking a ridiculous price tag on them. But anyway, I'll see if I can find a shirt in there or something to wear on the next stream I do, which if you've not heard already when I've mentioned it a couple of times on this stream, I'm probably not going to be streaming next Tuesday. If I do, it'll probably be earlier in the day, so around like before midday UK time, because I am going to be doing some late deliveries in work next week, unfortunately, on the Tuesday anyway, which is when I normally do my stream. Either that or I might switch the stream to Wednesday. We'll have to wait and see how the week pans out. I think with me doing them late deliveries on Tuesday, I think I'm going to have an easy run on Wednesday, so it may work out that I can just switch it to Wednesday. We'll have to wait and see though. It has, oh yeah, that's Modelling for Advantage saying Dune has not stood the test of time. I've already looked at that comment. The audiobooks are popping up like crazy for me on YouTube. The Dune books, nice. Hey lads, amazing these Necrons. They are indeed, Alex. Yeah, they're super. But we are not Necron. Well, I'm not a Necron player anyway. Having said that, although I'm not a Necron player, not a Necron collector, some of these new Necron models, for the first time since the original Necron Warrior, Necron Raider models they were called at the time, for the first time since they were released, my head's been sort of turned by the Necrons, and I'm almost like, oh, I need to start making a Necron army. And because I've got some in the start set there, I will make a small Necron force, but it's never going to be, or it's never likely to be a massive Necron force, unless maybe there's a chance that if I really enjoy painting them, there's a chance I might just keep adding to Necrons, but I doubt it. I can't see it happening myself. There's certain models that I do like in the range and that have been in the range for a while, like the Necron Wraiths and stuff, and the Catans as well. Some of the Catans I've liked, I've admired them from afar, more for sort of conversions, like the Deceiver that almost looks like he's got a Jester hat on. I've always thought he'd make a good avatar of Segarak for a Harlequin force, or just a representation of the god on the tabletop. Although you couldn't really, there's no rules for him, but you could make up your own rules for a narrative scenario or something. Yes, but yeah, the Necrons are one army that's never held much appeal to me, but now my head's sort of been turned by them. Catan Shard, the Void Dragon that is, this new Catan here. Movement 8 inches, weapon skill 2+, ballistic skill 2+. The sort of stats you'd expect for a god level avatar creature kind of thing. Strength 6, toughness 7, I was going to say 10 then for some reason. Wounds 9, so just under that 10, which would make him targetable despite not being the closest enemy unit. So that means he can't be targeted when there's intervening models, basically. Attacks 5, leadership 10, and save 3+. When you combine that profile with the power granted by Spirit of the Void Dragon, this Catan Shard will be easily cutting its way through enemy units in the name of its Necron Enslavers. Spear of the Void Dragon, shooting 12 inches, heavy 1. Strength 9, AP -4, D6 damage. That is mighty meaty weapon. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, if a hit is scored, draw line of sight between the closest point of this model's base or hull and that of the closest model in the target unit. Make 1 wound roll against the target unit and each other unit this line passes over. Each time an attack made with this weapon is allocated to a vehicle model, that attack has a damage characteristic of D3+3. Wow, that's cool. That could be used really effectively. But the range is 12 inches, so that's a bit of a limiting factor there. It reminds me of the gaze, I think it was called the Gaze of Magnus. It was a psychic shooting attack that Magnus had, or the Eye of Magnus, or something like that. And I think that was back in 7th edition, near the near the end of 7th edition when them rules came out. I could be wrong. Could have been at the start of 8th. And then the melee rules, close combat rules for Spear of the Void Dragon. Strength +3, so that means it becomes strength 9, so the same as a shooting attack effectively. AP -4 and damage D6, same. And then it's got the same rule, each time an attack made with this weapon is allocated to a vehicle model, that attack has a damage characteristic of D3+3. So, yeah, so you get a minimum 4 damage against vehicles, basically, which is pretty cool. Necrodermis. Catan Shard of the Void Dragon also has 2 abilities to make it extremely difficult to kill. Its Necrodermis lets it shrug off god-killing levels of punishment. This model has 4+ invuln save. In addition, this model cannot lose more than 3 wounds in the same phase. Any wounds that would be lost after this point are not lost, so it's similar to Ghazghkull in that way. Save of 3+ and a 4+ invuln save. That is a tough save to be getting through. Meanwhile, its matter absorption rule means that the fearsome entity can devour the very essence of destroyed enemy vehicles to keep itself fighting. At the end of each fight phase, roll 1d6 for each enemy vehicle model destroyed as a result of an attack made by this model or a Catan power used by... You know what, I'm not taking any of this in. I've just realised I've gotten halfway through the box and I've not taken any in. At the end of the fight, each fight phase, roll a d6 for each enemy vehicle model destroyed as a result of an attack made by this model or a Catan power used by this model that phase. For each 2+, this model regains 1 wound lost to a maximum of 3 regained wounds per phase. That is cool. And you know, there's other characters out there, definitely, I know for a fact, that have similar rules to that. So I feel like maybe Belisarius Cole can do that, but I might be wrong. Yeah, it's a sort of, you know, an Avatar or Primarch level model, really. Looks like it anyway. There we go. Yeah, so that's the new Necron models. Let's go back, see if there's any other interesting articles we can take a look at. Anything about anything? Okay. Nope. Oh, let's have a look at Armies on Parade, shall we? I did have a brief look at this the other day. But if you want to do Armies on Parade this year, it's all going to be online. Armies on Parade holds a special place in the hearts of many Warhammer hobbyists. It's an opportunity once each year to come together and marvel at the boundless creativity of our peers in the community. Many collectors also like to document their own growth and progress year by year. Yeah, not a bad idea. This Eldar board here, love it. It's in Inari Force, isn't it? With some Dire Avengers, the Vizark and Ivrain. There's no Avatar of Iniad there though. I say Iniad. Some people say you need, but you need to me sounds like you need something. So I always I always find it tricky. Not tricky. I find it a bit irritating. There's some important stuff to note here. All entries must be submitted as photos via email. The submission window opens on Monday the 2nd of November and closes on Sunday the 29th of November. All entries will be reviewed by a panel of experts to determine the winners. Excellent stuff. What are the categories? So they're not doing it at all by the looks of it at a store level. Unless they are in some way, and I'm just not going into the details. But you can win a nice trophy. How big can the board be? It can be. It should either be 22 inches by 30 inches, incidentally the size of a board that comes in the new Battlezone packs, or 2 foot by 2 foot, so the classic table, old GW table size, the 1/6 of them. Grab Battlezone Manufactorum Vertigus for an out-of-the-box 22 inches by 30 inches board, ready to go, complete with scenery. Fancy that, eh? Fancy them trying to push some products on us when they're encouraging us to enter this competition. I find I don't see a lot of, what's this called? Armies on Parade. Yeah, I don't see a lot of Armies on Parade because I don't always go down to stores when they're being displayed and stuff. But I find personally, when it's a board that you've built yourself and stuff, it looks far more impressive. So like this Eldar one here, you can see it's... Excuse me. I didn't even get up early this morning, you know. But I'm tired already. I'm getting up a bit earlier tomorrow morning though. But anyway, yeah. You can see this Eldar board here. They've put in the effort. They've really built up this corner of the board there. It's 2 foot by 2 foot board. They've made their own scenery piece to go in the middle there. And they've integrated some GW scenery as well. And it's it looks fantastic. And then if you were to just use one of these Battlezone Manufactorum Vertigus boards, it's a bit like, don't get me wrong, you've got a nice scenery collection. Yeah, you've got a nice scenery collection, but it's I've just got a reply to this message from work. Yes, I did. There we go. Yeah, so it's a nice scenery collection in these boxes, and it's a great way to start a game table for yourself and to have a reasonably quick way to get a table together. But for an Armies on Parade board, I personally feel like when you make the board yourself, it seems far more impressive. And you don't have to lug. The great thing about Armies on Parade this year is you don't have to lug the board down to the store, do you? Because you just submit your photos online. So you can build a board. You can build an entire board in your house and display your army on it on a 2 foot by 2 foot section of it, and then go from there. I'm very yawny tonight, aren't I? Yeah. So they've got some. Oh, look at these miniatures. Just the battle damage and the shading on this Wraith Lord here is fantastic. That one in particular, I think it's mainly that one in fact that I'm most impressed by here. It is gorgeous. The painting, the shading on that red is fantastic. Really nice. Anyway, back to the article. Nothing more to read, really. Well, there's plenty more to read. If you're interested in entering Armies on Parade this year, I definitely recommend you read that article. It's got an FAQ there for you as well if you want to check out and get all the vital information. Let's go back to the chat, see what's going off. The audiobooks are popping up. 6. I don't know why the bard's saying 6. I can't remember. It's probably something to do with something I was talking about earlier, but I can't remember what it would be. 2 months for a shirt. That's right, Marcos. Yes. I just arrived home after 2,000 grand tournament match, 2,000 point grand tournament match. I assume you mean, not 2,000 grand tournament matches. That'd be a lot of grand tournament matches. I got obliterated by Thousand Suns. By the way, shame on me because I played Tau. I'm sure there'll be plenty of hobbyists out there that would have a good old chuckle at that at your expense. But hey, you know what? If they're a playable army, I don't think you can moan too much when somebody brings them to the table opposite you. So it's GW that make the choices with what's a playable army, and Tau are one of those armies that are playable. So I wouldn't moan too much. If I kept playing Tau and they kept obliterating me and shooting me off the board, it could get frustrating and I might be more salty. But because I don't play that much, just getting a game in now and again for me is kind of enough. Philip Freeman, never mind Alexander, it's only a game, exactly. Damn it, you will win the next one. What about the Gargants? Giants, yes, they are big boys. Yeah, I can have a look at that, can't I? Definitely, in a second. Do you read the Spanners webcomic? I don't read the Spanners webcomic, no, but should we have a look at it? I don't read it because I just find it just not very funny myself. Maybe I don't understand the humour involved in it. But let's have a quick look at it. 3 spare bits. Jud. Jud. I'm guessing is the sort of sound they were going for there. Jud. Warhammer Community Spanners. Oh, ping. And then a wheel falls off. Crunch. Honestly, I don't understand the appeal of it. Let's get back to the first bit. Get back here! Or get back here! Somewhere on Agrax, Deathbad, our hero, is in a spot of bother again. Run, Nicky! Boss! I just punched Bossmech in the face. And also, he seems to think that I owe him 1 million or so teeth or something. Deathbad! Get him, boys! Run! I don't think I'm going to be able to keep this voice up for this one. Quick, Nicky! Nick that truck! But boss, that's a... Shut it and drive! Ah, eat my dust, boss mech, you're... Ah! Ping! Scrumph! So there's me reading the webcomic for you, the Spanners webcomic. It's a thingy, innit? It's a thingy, and the wheel fell off. What is it? It looks like a Rucker Truck Squig Buggy, that's what it looks like. Yes, and the wheel fell off. The Grot was trying to warn him that there was something wrong with it, or it's a Rucker Truck Squig Buggy perhaps, and then the wheel fell off. All the squigs. Ah, that's what the R was for. All the squigs were in the back and jumping out, attacking them. Yeah, like I said, I'm not very fond of comics myself, but there we go. I find them a little bit too chaotic. When I'm reading something, I want to read it. I don't necessarily want to look at pictures, unless like I can read an entire page and then look at a picture of something that page was describing, which is essentially what a comic does, but in a really small space. But yeah, for some reason I've never been able to read comics properly. So let's go back to see if we can find these Gargants. Oh my god, how many times are we going to have to press back now? Come on. There we go. Gargants is what we want to look at, isn't it? I've seen articles popping up for them, but I can't see any articles for them here. I've just pressed load more and then it didn't load more. Where are they? Or is it just on the Facebook page that I've seen them popping up and they're not actually showing them on the community site? Oh, surely they are. That's way back to midway through the month. Let's go explore our games, visit us, webcomics, let's building FAQs, articles, Warhammer Age of Sigmar. I just passed it. Oh no, I've just passed it. Hopefully we'll find it in here. Warcry. Legendary Battalions update. History of the World Titan. That's one of the thingies, in it. The chat froze back again, says Rivets and Daka. So there's History of the World Titan here. It's a big, massive... Oh, it's just art. I want pictures of the miniatures. I could go to Warhammer Preview Online. Sons of Baymat, what we know so far. That's from April. I mean, I can click on that and I can show you the images that are in that. But I've seen, they've been sharing pictures on the Facebook page recently. I'll show you this video. I think these miniatures look fantastic, to be fair. So I'll show you this video. There's a little fella. There's a Gargant. And there's a bigger Gargant. Wow, massive. I think that's like probably a little bit taller than a knight, I think. They're huge, aren't they? Fantastic looking models as well. They've only got three fingers, I've just noticed. Yeah, if you got one of these models and you somehow converted them into like an Orky model, I'd be very impressed. Maybe you run them as like a snakebite unit, a snakebite Gorkanaut. Or Morkanaut with like the flesh painted green. They're just some mutant from a random world. Oh, they are fantastic looking models in my opinion. And I'd love to tackle one at some point in the future. Now, it's 10 to 9, so I think I'm going to wrap it up at 9 o'clock. Maybe a little bit before because I don't really think I've got much more to talk about. And I've done a little bit of painting for tonight. I've shown you that already, but just to finish off, should I show you my spinny knob? Oh, what an exciting prospect that is for you. Let's see if we can show you my spinny knob. Spinny knob, here is my spinny knob. Spinny knob, here comes my spinny knob. Watch out, you can't see my spinny knob. I didn't realise how far up that camera's pointed. Right, spinny knob time. Move that. Spinny knob, spinny, spinny knob. Hey, is my spinny knob. Oh, the problem is, I've got this in the background, so it's going to focus. Oh, there we go. Let's do that. Let's do that. Focus on that, you little devil. Oh, I need something plain-ish. Look at that, spinning knob. Oh, of course it unfocuses straight away because there's writing on that though. Yeah, there's my spinning knob. So this is a knob that I painted up recently, just as a sort of palette cleanser. Yeah, Gary Knox saying it's the history of the things that I could have looked at, but that's the only article on there. I wanted more images of the individual Gargants, really. So yeah, unless they're available, I'll just have to make do with that old video that we've seen. So yeah, this is my Death Skull knob. I started this ages ago, absolutely ages ago, and I was using airbrush paints at first. Originally I used a blue. You'll see it a little bit on the claws. It is irritating that that's not quite in focus. Ah, yeah, but you'll see it originally on the claws anyway. The original blue that I used. No, don't want that. Let's try this. Oh, wait a minute, it's focusing. If I just turn away, will it randomly focus? It's just a bit too bright behind him, isn't it, this white? I think. Anyway, yeah, the blue on the claws is the original blue I use, which is like a Vallejo blue, royal blue or something like that. And then I've used Talosar blue, the contrast paint on the rest of his body. And I think it works really well. Talosar blue is this one. I think it works really well with that airbrush paint. It's a really close match to the paint I used on the claws originally. I'm dropping also. Oh, I'll tell you what. I've got an iPad here. I can try and use that to get him to focus. Maybe. No, it's just focusing on the thingy of the iPad. Really irritating. I really need to find a way to control my thing so it'll actually focus on something that I want it to focus on rather than just something random. Anyway, there's my knob. Let's oh, I'm pressing things here. Okay guys, got to go. Been good night again. Thanks very much for joining us, Philip. To finish these bases and the Space Wolves. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Cheers. Steve from Who Took My Dice has just joined us in the chat as we're wrapping the video up. I was trying to show you my spinning knob, but unfortunately, my knob stopped spinning. It didn't stop spinning. I just couldn't get him to focus, so I'm going to try and get him to focus manually by holding him manually. There we go. Now we need to locate him right. I've used contrast paints to do a bit of shading at the bottom of the jaw and stuff like that. I just tried a different technique. I saw Uncle Adam from Tabletop Minions, talking about using Pointillism. The idea of, is it Pointillism? Where you use dots to make art, but just using tiny dots to make shading. And then I started doing that, and then I got bored of trying to make tiny dots because my brush didn't have a small enough tip, a fine enough tip, so I decided to just start painting random little shapes on the bottom of the jaw there just to get some interesting patterns and like weathering techniques. And then yeah, and then elsewhere it's mainly contrast paints I've painted him with, and I'm pretty pleased with him, to be honest. This is an old metal knob. I've got another one to paint up just here, which is a plastic one. And just for a comparison, if you've got any old metal knobs and you're looking at getting some plastic ones, side by side comparison, they are very, very similar in height and shape and everything. They didn't really change them much when they brought the plastic ones out. So this white one's a plastic one and the blue one is the metal one. Yeah, so it's slightly smaller, the blue one, but not much smaller, especially when you put a back banner on there and stuff. But yeah, they're pretty comparable, as you can see. And this is the original blue airbrush paint, just so you can see them side by side. They are a very close match, Talosar blue and that blue airbrush paint. I can't remember the name of the Vallejo paint though, that is that airbrush paint. But yeah, he's headless at the minute as well, because I've been painting up some heads separately, and I need to put some shading, like Blood Angel's red on his gob and stuff like that. Right, so it is. I've been streaming for 2 hours now. It's now 8:57. Let's come back to my face, shall we? Boom! That's my face. Well done. Yeah, so I've been streaming for a little while now, and I think that is about enough for you, isn't it? So I'm gonna say, once I get rid of this over here, I'm gonna say thanks very much for watching, guys. I'm gonna say a massive thank you once again to Marcos Castellanos for donating to my Patreon. 10 likes, wow, nice one, guys. Thanks very much for the support. And yeah, like I said to Marcos, thanks very much for the support on the Patreon. That'll pay for half of a shirt, or possibly a whole shirt, or 2 shirts if you pledge for a second month as well. No pressure though, of course. But yeah, I will get shopping. I better get shopping for a shirt now so I can honour that sponsorship. 2 weeks, 2 months. Did I say 2 weeks? I meant 2 months. It's yeah, like the Patreon payments come out once a month. So if you pledge for a second month as well, then it'd be another. Oh, I need to check my Patreon terms and conditions. Maybe I've said for a second week instead, and that's why you're saying 2 weeks. I don't know. Anyway, Gary Knox saying, cheers Dan, great chat all. Thanks very much for joining us, Gary. Thanks very much to Marcos once again. 2 weeks until 2 weeks until the next Patreon pledge. Right, nice one. Or 2 weeks until the next streamer, you're saying. I don't know if that's the question. Because like I said, next week I may be streaming, but it'll probably be earlier in the day if it's on Tuesday. And if it's not on Tuesday, I might end up doing one on Wednesday. Just because of work commitments. 11 likes now. Fantastic. Thanks very much for the support again. Yeah, so I may end up doing a stream on Wednesday or early on Tuesday. Maybe a short one early Tuesday morning, and then a long one Wednesday evening. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? Yeah, I'll leave it there for now, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for all the continued support and the continued attendance on these hobby hangouts. You really do help me get a Ghazghkull painted bit by bit. And now and again, when I'm not streaming, I do a bit of sneaky work on Ghazghkull as well. So I need to get my cursor to the end button here, don't I? Over here. Right, thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll leave it there for now, like I said, and I'll see you on the battlefield.